Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Um, all right. So last time I found a gem. This time I found a gold mine. At least that's what I'm calling it. So there was this talk in NGConf. I remember his name is Dave Smith, and he did a talk on Angular 1 plus React. And at the very end, he showed an Angular 2 project that he had done the same thing with comparing the difference of the speed, which was astounding. I will provide a link to the video on the page. Um, Anyways, I found him on GitHub. I cloned his repository, and we'll go ahead and pull it down, take a look at it, and then let's see, where can I find? So I cloned it, or I forked it. Here it is. So yeah, DJ Smith 42. Angular 2 calendar. And then, so we'll go to my local copy of it, which is here. And basically, huh? Basically, I mean, it's an Angular 2 app, and it shows um, really nicely the um, Git, checkout. No. It shows really nicely components and nested components, and that's what we needed. And it's a table. It's a table with cells and rows, and that's we're making a table with rows, and it's perfect. It's great. So, gold mine, absolute gold mine. So let's pull this down, right? Git clone, HTTP. Oop, wow, that's really bad. GitHub com. Super secret username. What was it? Angular 2 underscore calendar. And if I can spell correctly, it's working. Okay, good. So, Angular 2 calendar. All right, so just because npm install, but on my computer I need sudo npm install. All right, and what we can do is then open it up in WebStorm, so we'll do a new project. Nope, no source file or whatever. Users, me, repos, refresh, make sure we got it. There it is, Angular 2, created as the root. Finish. Awesome. Got that working. Cool. Pulled everything in. And then basically we can set up nothing here. Come on. Finish loading. There we go. Edit configurations. New JavaScript debug. Test. And it is index. Click OK. And run. And locate the window because I do that a lot. Yep, here we go. Angular 2 example. That's, yep, Angular 2 example. So, in the README, it says, nope, blah, click the load button, click the search all month. Well, something happened, obviously, because it's not 44 not found, not found, system is not defined. Alright, all I did was pull it down, clone this repo, install this, go in there, npm install, which I did. What's in index.html, node modules, tracer, ES6 module loader, JS, yeah, that's right. There is an extra comma here. Could that be potentially breaking it? Um, well, the other thing is my server always does this. Well, not always, but it tends to do this. Sometimes I think that's what's wrong. I think if I take the slash off of these things, it'll probably just start working. In the future, I might want to just stick with HTTP server and not have to deal with my IDE's terrible path setting stuff. We're down to 2 errors. Error loading app.js. App.js. Index. Where is it? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay. Forget this. We're gonna shut down. We're gonna not use that version of the server, and we're just gonna use regular HTTP server. So HTTP server, and now it's on 8080. So now we go to localhost 8080. Aha! Here's the load button. So you get a load button, click load, and if you'd seen his presentation, that is extremely impressive. So I do recommend going and looking at the presentation, but this goes to show kind of how Angular is put together. So now let's actually look at the code. He's got the same type of stuff, the system, module loading stuff, and then uncomment for debugging. Okay. And cas, okay, cool. And then that's all in his head, and then he has here in the body, cool. Now the part that I found interesting was I actually looked at these. So here's his calendar.js. So he's pulling in component for each template and if. And then he's passing in for each as a directive. I think this was the piece I was missing. So that's great. We're finding, things that, I wasn't able to figure out on my own. Cool. So then he's got, so then he's just got, constructor setting a couple default things and saying load, search all cells. So good stuff in here. And when we look at his template, he's got, and this makes sense when you think about web components and how they work. He's got his style all in here, and then he's got his actual HTML that goes with it. And he has here template for each hour in hours, day in days, stuff like that. So obviously, and he's got these star if. So great. He's got things that we can look at how he did it and then replicate it. So that's the calendar, and then the more interesting one is the calendar cell, because he's loading in the calendar with it, and I don't see him actually like loading that in here or anything. But let's see, binding propagation config, cell clicked, and then he's got like show spinner, hide spinner, show time, return results. Like this is so simple. Like I like the way that this is kind of put together. It's it's just like a little class, and you put some stuff in the class. It does when you really look at it, it does start to remind you of an Angular 1 controller, and that's really all these are. And then here's his template for this, and he's got a couple ifs, and so cool. So now we have a base to work off of, and that's really what I was after. And I'm really glad that I found this. And here's the other thing that he did was he did export function main, and then he returns bootstrap calendar blah blah blah. So what I like is that the app.js just kind of kicks it all off. It doesn't, it's not like a main part of, it's not like built into the file. It doesn't mean we have to follow this pattern, but I do really like this pattern. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that over here for reference, and we're going to open up my project in a new window. And we're going to try to refactor it kind of the same way. So what I'm gonna do is, when we're first learning this stuff, you kind of need to follow someone else's example, and then you can start to follow the example on your own. So it made sense that he has a directory called components. So we're gonna follow his pattern and see if we can't get this to work, and then we may develop our own pattern off of that. So he's got a piece called components, and then inside of it he's got a directory for each component. We don't necessarily need to follow that example, but I do think that it's going to be a good way to organize it, so I'm going to go with that. So we'll have what? Coungries countries table, and then we're going to create another component folder, countries row. Countries row. Okay, then he has inside of there, he has a JavaScript file and an HTML file. So we'll follow the same example. Countries row HTML and a JavaScript file, countries row.js. And then we'll create the same thing here. Countries table. And countries table. Okay. So now we need to start, I guess, moving some of our code from the files here. And so this was our attempt at the table component, right? Kind of. It was a very poor attempt. So we'll pull this and, or should we really just start anew? Because there's not much, like I obviously did a lot very, very wrong. Yeah, let's just start anew. So we're going to create countries table, and can we take some of the same? I think we can take some of the same HTML, because that was, I guess, somewhat close. I don't need to delete it from there. We'll just copy and dump it in here. Okay, so we do have a table, and then we have the row. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow his example as well. We're going to do tr and then have an attribute of template equals, let me pull up his example here. Okay, and so he has template equals for each country, country in countries. And so this will be the ending tr, so then we can remove this, can indent this so it makes sense. Okay, and what else does he have? He has a class on there and a click event, which we'll add the click event later. Let's just get something to show up on the page. And then inside of each, see, this is the table. Um, and well, yeah, let's try that because we just want to get something to show up on the page. That was kind of the point that I was attempting to make at the beginning. TH is not allowed here. Oh, because I need a row. That makes sense. Yeah, it's T head, then row, then a header. Ah, that really didn't go well. Whoa. And finish the row. Okay, cool. Awesome. So now we have that, and he had CSS in there, but we aren't going to worry about that at the moment. Okay, so now let's look at the JavaScript side of it. And again, following his example, he imported, I'm just going to pull some of this in. Lodash. I don't remember. Is that even in here? Node modules. I don't see it. Maybe we don't need that piece. Stores registry. No, I don't think I need that. Calendar cell. That's the other piece. We'll replace that in a minute. So it looks like the minimum one I need right now is that one at the top. Cool. So then he has at component and a selector, and we're going to call it what? Countries row for now? No, table. Countries table. And then, well, he has a comma there. That doesn't make sense. Okay, and then template. And he has a URL, and he's using system base URL plus, and then the path to the component. So in my case, that's components. Countries table. Countries table HTML. And then he has a directives and square bracket, and he's pulling in for each, if, and the calendar cell, which we're not going to pull in at the very moment. Okay, now we're going to export class countries table and a constructor. And this is where I'm going to go back to what we had because we had set up. I'm not going to use a service at the moment. Well, we can throw this in there, right? And it should show us a 1 at least. So we're going to throw this in here, and now we actually have some countries. And then he's got some other functions which we will eventually add some other stuff in to make this, do something versus just like show something. Okay, I guess we run it, right? Well, I need to remap things in the index.html. I need to pull in, let's see, I do want index. See, he had that main loading piece, which I did like, actually. And so I'm going to copy some of the import statements from his. Angular 2, bind for the DI, and he had a calendar, and I have what? Countries table from components, calendars, components, countries table, and countries table, and then he had this export function, except not calendar, it was countries table. And now we need to tell our index, to load the index.js. And I think we need to tell it about our components. So let me look at, well, does he have that? I don't think he has. Where? Oh, he has that in here. Okay. Yes, he did have that. Components /star, and it's in components /star.js, and another comma there. All right, and now HTTP server 8081 localhost 8081, and then we need to go to where we can click browse countries, and we get an error. Decorators not defined. Okay, yeah. App, import app, index.js. Where is decorator? Decorator's right here. That's in countries.js. App.js, yeah, countries.js. Because our country's HTML. Aha! Found it. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's right. Because we're working in more than one project. Kind of. We don't have a router, so we have to fake it. So countries.js is our bootstrapping piece for that page. All right, so we throw this in there. And countries HTML, we need to put the components on there. Countries HTML. We need to throw in our components. We'll leave services for the moment. And we also need to pull in countries table. That's right. Okay. Now refresh. No error, but no results. Body, countries table. Did I spell it wrong? Countries table. Am I actually loading the file? Yeah, I spelled it right. Okay. Components, countries.js. Countries.js pulls in countries table and bootstraps it. So it's like we're not getting some of my paths wrong. Countries table. HTML, countries table. I mean, it looks like it's pulling it in right because we're actually getting tracer output. Interesting. We're getting the right files. Export function main. What calls main? Nothing's calling main. That's it. That's the piece. Okay. So go back to WebStorm and then okay, he's got this piece here that I'm missing. Well, and he's got this tagged on as well. So we'll copy what he has here, and this makes sense. So he has import app, and then he has .then. And he loads the module catch. Okay, so now what happens? Aha! Country is not defined. Country is not defined. Okay, probably. Okay, so we flip back over and we've got something on the page now. That's good. Countries table and new country. I'm saying new country, but I don't have a country piece defined, which not too concerned about it, or am I concerned about it? Well, what I can do really easily is pull in country into here for the moment. Aha. Okay. Aha! We have a test name. Okay, so we're starting to get somewhere. Awesome. Okay. How far can we take this? We have a countries table, we have a shadow root, we have a table inside of it with a t-body that has for each here. Awesome. Cool. Okay, time to start pushing it. Time to get the second piece of the puzzle in place. So we have our table, countries table. Now we need our countries row. So that's obviously not what we want. We need to find our templates and our row. We're going to copy the row. And we're going to place that in the HTML. And we're going to reference his HTML to see what was here. Classical result, classical weak result, bad result, searching if. I think that's okay. I think that's fine. Then we need our JavaScript that runs it. Countries row JavaScript. And looking at his, he pulls in. I think the only piece I'm interested in again is the top statement. And then we'll start building this out. So component and selector, and we'll call it countries row, and then we'll bind. Do we need to bind? I think we bind. And we need to bind to a country, I think. Because I think that's how we pass them in. Because a component is going to be aware of another component. You have to pass it some data, I think. So I think that's how Angular passes data from one component to another, is you bind it and put it on an attribute, and there you go. So he's got another system, base, URL, and then he's got components, countries, row, countries, row, HTML. And then he's pulling in the directives. He pulls in for each and if. I'm not using either really, but I'll load one in, just good practice, I guess. Export class, and we're gonna call this countries row, and then he has binding propagation config. This should be propagated. I don't know if I need any of this stuff. Well, again, initially we're going to go with very bare bones. So I'm just going to put a constructor on it just so it has one. Constructor. Okay. Constructor. Awesome. And then we need to look at how did he link it to the other. Aha, yes, okay. Okay. So he is pulling it in through his table. So if you go to countriestable.js, we now need to import our countries row from components, countries row, countries row, and then he has it pulled into the directives, countries row, and then that's it for that. Okay, so now we should be able to replace this potentially with a countries row and country equals country. And potentially we'll start getting a list of these, and then we need to, of course, build out the JavaScript that pulls it from the service. Okay, just checking to see if there's anything else I think I'm missing. I don't think so. Everything else looks pretty standard. Okay, so I guess we try running it. Cannot property name of null. Country name, country capital, country. Okay, what did he do here? Okay, he has this binding propagation. And that was a piece that I kind of chose in the beginning to look over. Maybe that's really important. And he has it in the constructor. First he's got, on his class, he's got a property called BPC. And then he's got BPC binding propagation config. And then he says in here, this BPC equals BPC, and then he has this BPC dot should be propagated. And that might have that might be a really important piece, for all I know. Otherwise, everything looks kind of same, I think. Okay, refresh. Cannot read property name of null. So we have what? For each countries? Country in countries. Country equals country. And I think that's what he has too. He has a for each hour in hours. And then he has calendar dash cell hour equals hour. And that's what I have. Just with my objects instead. Country in countries. So the difference is, what's the difference? He's got countries. Country equals country. Yep, he's got that. Directives. He has a for each, and if maybe I need the for each directive for whatever reason. Maybe that is an important piece. What else is here? Nope, cannot read property name of null. Change detector to detect changes in records, evalid anonymous, unknown source. Status. I'm trying to see where he's using hour, because I know he's passing hour in, but I don't see him actually using hour or day. This is he using in cell anywhere? No. Nope. So it's like, why pass it in if you're not going to use it at all? So I'm trying to see if he like pulls it and checks things, or search options is searching this status bind hour day. Cell binding propagation. Okay, Yeah. Okay, well, I guess I guess we're closer. We're definitely closer. We're definitely closer. But something else is still going wrong, and or the also possibility is that it's not ready. Oh, he's also pulling in the cell here. I don't know if that's important. Maybe it is. Because he's also pulling the cell in, or his cell, my row, in here. Wait, what happened there? Okay. And countries row, right? Yeah, countries row, row, row. Nope. Okay, well, yeah, we'll have to take another stab at this in a little bit. So we've got a little closer. We're seeing another example, but again, I'm trying to figure out a framework that doesn't really have any documentation and is definitely not stable at the moment. So, um, yeah. Well, I will pick this up next time, and meanwhile, go watch his video, because it was a very good presentation. I learned a lot, and he did a really good job presenting it. So, go watch this video, and I will see you guys next time.